had the privilege of officiating at a bat mitzvah this last Shabbat that left me incredibly inspired, and in fact also was the first of many life cycle moments that occurred between Shabbat and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. And I don't want to share all of them, but what I do want to share is the pace of them and what it is to be a rabbi, maybe any actively engaged rabbinic leader or leader for ritual and life cycle in community. This bat mitzvah was glorious. It was so special. This very, very incredible young woman was one of the first members of our preschool community, and I had the delight of being a parent in that preschool class. So she was one of the first students, and this was her moment of bat mitzvah. Her parents were incredibly present, and I got to help hold the space and just witness her emergence as a Jewish leader. It was really beautiful. And that was Shabbat, and it occupied a lot of my heart. And then Sunday, there was a Simchat Bat where a young baby was welcomed into the covenant, and her parents, whose wedding I'd officiated at, and whose older sister, whose naming I'd officiated at, and whose cousins I'd done their b'nai mitzvah. It's just one of those things that when you're in a place long enough, you get to be present in people's lives in precious ways. And then this beautiful moment after that naming of this beautiful, beautiful girl and her family, I then helped officiate at a Shiva home for actually someone who isn't a member of my synagogue community, but is a leader in the larger Jewish community, a dear friend whose mother had died. And I officiated at that Shiva, and then I came back to my community, and there was a Shiva in the evening that I officiated at for someone whose life I've been blessed to touch and been touched by many, many times. And then over the cycle of these last couple of days, there have been more bar mitzvah preparation, and there are couples who are in need of counseling. There's one forthcoming wedding. There's someone who's converting to Judaism who's working with me. And all of these are delightful. I mean, to stand in the middle of all of these relationships, to see the way in which it's not the wisdom that I bring, because I don't actually have answers for many of the biggest questions they ask, but I stand witness in the name of tradition, because I am so lucky, as are so many of us, to be present with friends and students and other community members, to sing and to cry and to be quiet and to celebrate. I have my own life cycle moments that I'm blessed to share. And I wanted to share it in this way. Among the most beautiful of the symmetries, the juxtapositions in these precious, precious days, was that the Simchat Bat, the naming of this beautiful girl, that Sunday morning. Her name is Naomi now. The Shiva that I led later in that day was for an incredible leader, one of the founders of Jewish organizations in the Bay Area, whose name was Naomi. And there I stood on the same day, welcoming a new life and saying goodbye to a precious, precious one, both of whom were named Naomi. Now you might know this phrase, from Moshe until Moshe lo kam k'Moshe. From Moses and the Torah until Moses Maimonides, there never arose another one like Moshe. Well, that's so interesting because it's not quite true. Moses in the Bible was singular. Moses Maimonides was singular, but frankly, so is my son Moshe. He is singular, and there has never been and never will be a shining soul like my Moshe. Well, on that Sunday, as a rabbi, I got to stand in the midst of all these life moments, all these exquisite moments where heaven touches earth, where God kisses us, whatever you think of God. It's a divine kiss, to be touched and to touch back in these gentle, loving presence ways, to welcome the new Naomi into this world on the same day that we mourn the loss of Naomi. It means that maybe there will never be another Naomi like the one we said goodbye to. There certainly has never been a Naomi like the one we just welcomed into the world. But maybe you know a Naomi who is her own incredibly exquisite person, who brings gifts unlike any other that have ever been known in this world. I have been so lucky to be a rabbi for these last 16 years. And before that, just to be present as a son and a brother, friend. How lucky we are to stand recognizing the uniqueness of everyone around us, to know that we too are the only one just like us. May we be blessed. May we be blessed to know how special we each really, really are. You are special. There has never been a person like you. May we be blessed as we go and tend to others. to remember that when we look in their eyes, there is no one like the person you are in front of right now, and never will be again. And the name that they have will be worn by someone else, and we all connect in that cosmic weave. And how precious this moment is, how precious you are, and how lucky we are to be with anybody else. How lucky we are.